Okay. Miss Trish. Miss Chid. Hi everyone on Facebook, LinkedIn, and everywhere around the world and all across our social media. O, 'di ba ang taray? So, ayan, wait lang po habang inaayos natin yung ating mga masusugid na mga taga-subaybay sa IG. I've already invited you, Miss Trisha. Wait. Miss Rosalia, wait. So, wait lang po sa ating mga nasa Facebook. Ayan,
Hi
mag-invite lang
everyone!
kayo, mag-share lang kayo nitong page kasi very exciting to. Bago tayo mag-live, meron tayong, hindi ko masasabihin. Miss Rosalia, please check the invite.
Yeah, I did. I've requested to join.
You're unable to join. Is it limited only to 4 users for live? Attorney Vil?
No, we could, there could be more, but I can exit the live.
Miss Rosalia is unable to join.
Yeah, I think it's a signal problem, but I'll try to exit the live and then, yeah, let's see. If not, we always have a backup plan, di ba, Eunice?
Miss Rosalia,
Itutok na lang yung,
please check
Yeah.
your ID again.
Can you guys
It's
hear
not
me?
in-
I'm on StreamYard. Yeah, you can hear me on StreamYard.
yes.
I just switched networks just to make sure. And now I'm requesting
Okay.
again to join. But I don't know, something's wrong. Let me log out and come back in. Just wait for a second.
Unable to join, yes.
Okay.
I'll just
Okay, but-
focus the camera on Miss Rosalia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi. Hello po. Ayan, may mga pumapasok na. So, we
Yan.
are seeing people coming in. Ayan, say hi naman kayo from where you are. So, while we're fixing
Yes.
our IG live, we are super live on Facebook and LinkedIn. So, some things happen. Even if we practice, technology sometimes just gets the best of us. So, like what we did before, kung hindi mag-work lahat sa Instagram, Eunice can always flash her
Yes.
phone on StreamYard para ma-capture pa rin lahat. Anyway,
Yes.
ayan. So, antay siguro tayo, Eunice, ng 6:33 p.m. Ayan.
Okay.
So, ayan, medyo marami nang pumapasok. Antay siguro tayo ng mga 2 minutes more for people to please share. Yan, ayan, dumadami na. Please share po our live because mag-o-open po tayo ngayon via ano yun isa yung opening natin?
Magkakaroon tayo ng pop quiz! Oh, diba? Sabi ko sa inyo, tong live natin this Thursday, ibang-iba to sa mga nakaraan nating live. Di lahat ng live may quiz. Ngayon lang tayo may quiz. Oh, 'di ba? Ang taray-taray. Kaya let's go share the live. Oh, 'di ba? Kaya all you have to do, pero wait lang, mag-antay mo tayo ng mga konting viewers pa natin, more viewers na mag-tune in, na manood ng ating live, 'di ba? So, ayan, bago ko sabihin yung mga magaganap pa. Ayan, sabi ni Patrice, yay, pop-pop na yun, quiz daw. Taray. 'Di ba? Okay,
Ayan.
sige. So,
Eunice,
hi sa mga nasa IG. Yes po.
Just a heads up,
Yes, opo.
Just a heads up, we have international viewers tonight. So
I see.
baka matest ang yung English prowess.
Easy.
So yeah, let's
Easy
do
as
it
1,
right
2,
now.
3. Wow.
What are we starting with?
Okay, so before we start with our Bixie Thursday, since like what
That
I
was
mentioned
quick.
earlier, this one, I told you it's easy. This is far from the usual Bixie Thursday that we have. First, because we're going to start the live with a drum roll, please, with a pop quiz. Then second, today is the global launch. And finally, the report about the RISE project. So we will know what RISE project is all about and where are we exactly with the RISE project. So before we begin, please download the app so that everyone can participate in our pop quiz. So to make it more exciting, our prize for the 3 winners of our pop quiz will be, drumroll please, free online course. Oh yes, I love it. So of course, you want to learn but for free. So all you have to do is download the app and join the pop quiz. Okay, scan the QR code, go to your app store, Google Play, type Bixie, download, install, then there. Okay, you think shall we begin, Attorney Bill? Okay, let's wait for sa mga
Let's
viewers po
wait for maybe
natin.
1 minute more. Ayan,
Okay, 1
6:35.
minute more.
Mag-start na
So
tayo.
for our
And
yes,
Eunice, you mentioned free online course because
yes,
it's not us, huh? It's not us, but we will be releasing, one of these days we will be having another live event with ito na nga yung sinasabi ko. We
Remote
got
Skills
the free
Academy.
online course from Remote Skills Academy. So hindi po ako yung magtuturo. I will not be the one. Eunice will not be the one teaching you, but it's from a legit partner. They're called Remote Skills Academy, and so you have to look forward to this. So download the app, answer the questions na i-raise ni Eunice, and then at the end of the session, this is what will happen. You will get the answers as you go on through the session, okay? So hindi namin ibibigay agad wag mo ibibigay agad yung answer yun isa para hindi sila para may excitement. So they will get all the
Yes.
answers to the pop quiz as we go on with the discussion. So ayan, so I think okay na tayo. We have a lot of people now watching. So, start ka na. We only have 3 questions. Ayan, very easy. So, download the app. And
Yes.
then, punta kayo sa, saan sila pupunta,
Events
Eunice?
page. Go to the okay, so first you download the app. For our international viewers, first download the app, then go to our community, then look for the Bixie live events community inside. So as you can see, all of the questions for this pop quiz will be actually it's already posted there. Then for the
Yes.
answers, you will know the answers as you listen and watch our live. So all you have to do is sit, stare, and listen. Okay, let's
So
go.
here, it's already here. Everything is in here. I'm not
Yes.
on IG. Everything is in here. You just have to
Yes.
type the correct answer. So, Eunice, you can start.
Yes. Okay, so for our first question, drum roll please. O sa mga nasa Pilipinas, ayan po, ayan na, 1, 2, 3, go. So for our first pop quiz, wait, I will flash this on Instagram. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So for our first pop quiz question, low income women are, wait, I can see it. Financially literate, or more financially literate, or less financially literate than middle income men. So again, for our first question, first pop quiz question, low income women are first as financially literate, second, more financially literate, or third, less financially literate than middle income men. So you will know the answers as you listen to our live, and all you have to do once you figure out the answer, just type our answers on our Bixie Live event under the same question. So are we ready for the next question? Say yes.
Yes. I'm also
let's
answering.
Oh my gosh, wait. It's very hard to manage the social media and to listen to the live because I also want to win. Okay, fine, next. Okay. Okay, so for the second question for the pop quiz. Wait, I can't see it. As women, what are your top 3 financial goals? Okay, this is a very tough question, like Miss Universe levels question. So for our IG and LinkedIn and Facebook viewers, so as women, your top 3 financial goals are new house, savings, insurance, or all of these. Or if you're that, none of these. Men make money decisions. So again, as women, what are your top 3 goals? New house, savings, insurance, all of these, or none of these. Men make money decisions. Me, none of the above, and men does not make money decisions for me. Okay, kidding. Okay, next. Okay, I'm just laughing at my own joke. Anyway, let's go to the next question. Wait, take note of your questions, okay? But you can always go through the app for you to look back at the questions flash. Okay, so for the third and last pop quiz for tonight, when it comes to finance, women know a lot about inflation, investments, compound interest, or nothing. Men make money decisions. So again, for the last and the third pop quiz for tonight, when it comes to finance, women know a lot about inflation, investments, compound interests, or nothing. Men make money decisions. So again, all you have to do is just download the app, go to the community section, and go to the live Bixie live event circle. Then you will see the questions flash, and you can type in your answers. You will know the answers as you listen along during our live. So there you will see my face once again to our IG viewers. So I guess that's it for the pop quiz. But before anything else, of course, what is Bixie? You have to download the app now. And just please remember, although we are here for women who make financial decisions and we're here to provide knowledge and tools for them, we are not your financial or insurance advisors, okay? So we just provide you the usual app and the usual platform for us to connect with women who want to gain knowledge and interest about financial decisions and financial literacy. So there you have it. See your answers on our community section inside the Bixie app. So let me turn you over to Attorney Bill, and I will be in the comment section. So there you go.
Yes. Before you leave, Eunice, I suggest you highlight Rosalia with your phone
Yes, with my IG.
via. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Hi again.
Buyers.
Hi again, everyone. The pressure is high right now. We have a lot of viewers and people saying hi. So I'm gonna start with saying hi to everyone. Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening po sa inyong lahat, and good evening, everyone from this side of the world. If you're watching from not in Asia, it could be good morning, but from here it's good evening. So good evening, everyone. And dami, we have a lot of comments coming in right now, and that's nice. There are people who are answering in the comments. There's answer savings, investments. What I suggest is go inside the Bixie app and type in your answers. That's what Eunice said a while when she gave the instructions. So, punta po kayo sa loob ng Bixie app. I can see some familiar faces. I'm sure you have the Bixie app. Go inside our live events in the community and then live events, and it's there. I actually already answered there. If you're confident that I know the answer, you can copy my answer. But if you think I'm wrong, then you can choose a different answer. So yeah, a lot of comments are still coming in. Answer po kayo inside the Bixie app. So again, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone. Tonight, this is a huge night. Of course, like our other Bixie live events, which happen on Thursday, and we've been getting a lot of can I say this, compliments about what they learned, what their insights are, because we have been inviting the best of the best, because I cannot speak about this and that. Like Uni said, we're not licensed financial advisors, we're not licensed insurance agents. So when we discuss a topic, we actually invite people who can expertly say things in an expert fashion. So we have been getting a lot of like, thank you for this session where you had this guest blah blah who discussed this and that, and it actually is very it's warming the heart of everyone in the team, because we're going back to the mission and vision of Bixie, which is to give people to give women, to provide women with the knowledge, network, and tools to start investing, and of course to know their worth and grow their worth. But tonight is a special night, I should say, because we are having the Rise Report live event. So we will, of course, we will be discussing what the Rise is about later on. But yeah, this is a pilot project which we have done with the different ladies that you can see in your screen right now. But before we proceed to the meat of it, again, for those who just came in, we just had a pop quiz. The answers will be revealed while our guests and our panelists, rather, I'm not gonna call them guests anymore, because I think we've seen them in one way or another. But yeah, we have a pop quiz. Maybe if Eunice will be generous, she can repeat the questions again after the presentation of Rosalia. But we have to proceed right now with the main part of our program. But before that, I would like housekeeping muna pala. If you have any questions, feel free. Questions, suggestions, except violent reactions, please. You can comment. You can just type a comment in the section. We have Eunice here. We have everyone in the team looking out for comments. And if our panelists could be able to answer tonight, then well and good. But if not, if there are specific investments or insurance questions, we will refer them to those people that I mentioned early on. So again, good afternoon, everyone. So now let me introduce to you our speakers for tonight. So number one, we have Miss Chin. Yan, si Miss Chin Nobleza. She is the head of programming of Catholic Relied Services, and she has spent more than 18 years in development work, with 10 years in CRS, managing and implementing wide range of projects from agriculture and livelihood, ito pa, disaster risk reduction, youth development, and the COVID-19 response to vulnerable families. So Ms. Chin also provides oversight to the CRS Philippines program. So ladies, and of course, gentlemen, can we give a virtual round of applause for Ms. Chin? Ayan. Kunwari narinig ko, as if I heard all the claps. Ayan. So if you know Ms. Chin, shout her name out. The second panelist is Trisha Martin Manguyat from UBX. So Trisha, Diane Patricia or Trisha, there she is waving, is the product owner of UBX's lending marketplace, SeekCap, in line with UBX's vision to include everyone. That's nice. We're financial inclusion for women. Trisha has been focusing on driving financial inclusion by empowering SMEs to source funds through the automated process of SeekCap platform. Coming from the banking, e-commerce, and fintech industries, she works with lending and channel partners to drive growth and continued improvement of digital user experience. So again, another digital virtual round of applause, please, for Trisha. And last but not the least, I'm sure you've seen her maybe more than 10 times on our live events. But for the interest of those who are who are attending our live event for the first time, our last but not the least panelist is Rosalia Gitao, who is the co-founder and CEO of Bixie. So a little bit about her background. She is an attorney, an author, and also a humanitarian. And Bixie actually has been featured by the Manila Times, Manila Bulletin, 1 Million Startups, Financial Alliance for Women. So again, for the third time, a virtual round of applause for Rosalia, please. There. So now that you've met our panelists, I'd like to call on first Rosalia for the presentation of the RISE report, about the background, our findings, and the next steps. Note, sorry, I lost myself I lost my connection for there. I think I'm back. Okay, side note for those who are taking the pop quiz, this is your chance to get the correct answers. Okay, so if I were you, I will listen, I will stop, look, and listen because, while Rosalia talks, I might also be flashing presentations here and there where, you can get the correct answer. Okay?
All right. Who knows? Thank you
just tell me when to present.
Thank you for that very well welcome. You can go ahead and try and project now. Hopefully where you can get the presentation going. However, we're all exhausted by PowerPoint, so I promise you this won't be long and boring. I'm going to get straight to the point. So as Wamboy mentioned, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bixie. We are a fintech platform that provides knowledge, network, and tools with the vision of empowering women to know more about their finances, to take control more about their finances, so that we can begin growing our money. Bixie is the brainchild of two very disparate experiences that I had as a professional. So as Wamboy mentioned, I was a financial attorney for an American law firm in the US and in Paris. After that, I took a leap to join the UN. I was an OCHA cluster coordinator for almost a decade. So I know that side of the fence very, very well. And the challenges and opportunities inherent in all of the work that the aid sector, development, humanitarian play. And then I just made a radical decision to because I was really interested in trying to digitize and modernize the aid approach. So I took a little bit of a leap of faith and jumped into financial technology, where I worked at, amongst other things, I worked in a cryptocurrency company and worked at Alipay, where I learned a lot about the power of small, like the power of numbers, the power of the more that we are, i.e. women, 51% of the world, we can take tiny, tiny, tiny capital injections, whether it's a $100 grant or a 100 peso grant. And because of how capitalism works and because of how digitization works, we can increase the amount of these tiny injections of capital because we have what are now called micro investments available, or micro insurance, which include micro insurance products that are available. So what we're going to talk about tonight at Rise is how we were able to take small injections of capital, wrap that in an insurance product that protected that initial investment to 3 times its value at a marginal cost, and how now there was an opportunity for all of the women who participated in our project to now access investments, and this is courtesy of our licensed partners like UBX, to now grow their businesses. And this is something that's really easy to do. All you need is a smartphone and an internet connection, and it doesn't require a ton of experience or profound knowledge about finance. All of this is enabled now because of technology. So a bit about the RISE project, and we can kickstart with the death by PowerPoint. I promise it won't be. So RISE stands for Resilience Investments for SMEs that Empower Women. And that's effectively what the project is. We are providing investments for women-owned SMEs who have previously been, either vulnerable or at risk of disaster, and they have since passed through a course, through a savings and loan scheme. So they're graduates of this course, and now they have an opportunity to receive cash grants that they can then use to build their businesses and subsequently grow their businesses. So I like to say to the RISE Women participants, you're the first batch, you're the pilot batch, and I anticipate that one of you is going to be the female Jeff Bezos of this batch, right? It only takes one. And I'm going to give you some data reasons why I actually believe that might be the case later in the presentation. So in the next slide, just a brief overview of, sorry, Wonboy, if you want to move to the next slide. Yeah. A brief overview of the project. So it was a pilot that ran for the course of 1 month. Of course, there was months of planning and all of that, but the actual project execution was of the course of 1 month. Where we focused on just over 500 Filipina entrepreneurs who were graduates of CRS's Philippines but globally based savings and loans scheme. So they already have some access to trust circles, financial literacy. So the graduates of that were brought in as entrants for this pilot. Bixie provided our Learn to Earn platform. So we basically gamified learning. We have financial games, quizzes, contents, and you earn points by learning more. Hence, it's Learn to Earn. This is very popular in the financial technology space, and that's what we provided. And by learning to earn and accumulating more points, women were then able to access these grants, the world of humanitarian intervention, we call them cash transfers, CVA. They were able to access this. And in addition, they were able to access microinsurance products provided by UBX through globally recognized insurer AXA. And then subsequent to that, which is why Tricia specifically is joining us tonight, they have an opportunity for subsequent investment. In addition to opening digital bank accounts, they can now access SME loans, all by monitoring their trust and behavior and data points that we've gathered, over 500 through the Bixie app. The only requirements, as mentioned, is a smartphone and an internet connection. So it really is that simple. And we are additionally exploring even the use of not so smartphones, because we fully believe that everybody along the spectrum not only should, but can access financial products regardless of their income bracket. So in the next slide, I just want to quickly go over what I think is really interesting about the attendees on this call. And we've received a lot of RSVPs. And what's been really interesting about our guest list tonight is half of you are from the aid sector and half of you are from the finance sector. And this is, it's kind of where like all the worlds collide. And I'm really excited to begin seeing the bridge of this divide, because there really is no reason why such a divide exists. Now that I understand kind of both sides of that spectrum. So we'll just start in the aid sector. We know that we spend a lot in cash transfers, voucher assistance. We're going to term this, cash grants. And a lot of the times we know that they're done in person, or they're done through, intermediaries that might not be the most efficient or the most cost savings. And I think more pertinently, so often we lack real-time data, right? Like one of the advantages of doing things through an application is you can monitor kind of what are people doing? What are they interested in? What are they, in subsequent iterations, what are they looking to spend on? What are they actively trying to spend on? We can access this information in real time. And this is really important for, organizations that are really trying to evidence impact in, these investments, i.e. support that is given. Of course, there's an opportunity therein, which is a lot of cash grants can be done through mobile phones, swipe of phones, right? Like what I think is always interesting, what I found interesting in the aid sector is often in the same vein as a lot of these products weren't available to, our participants, we were often using them. We're using payment apps, we're using microinsurance apps, we're doing all these things, but to make them available to our participants is no longer a huge challenge. So I think there's a real opportunity that we should be exploiting there. And of course, in the finance sector, I've heard this time and time again. People, the finance sector is not comprised of people who just don't care. They're comprised of people who have to think about what are called client acquisition costs, right? There's a cost to acquiring clients. And it's one of the reasons why so many women and so many, not even bottom of pyramid, lower pyramid, are not adequately serviced. And that's why financial inclusion is so imperative. So what we have, our job is to demonstrate and provide that this is a business case. This is a group that is able to be onboarded efficiently, that is able to be nudged, efficiently, that is rife and interested in growing their net worth. I think, the idea that people who are income sensitive are not interested in investment is completely the converse to what we found. People who are income sensitive know quite a lot about money, and arguably more than the average person because of the sensitivity. And what we hope to bridge with this divide is ultimately we want our interest at Bixie, our mission is to empower women to know our worth and to grow our worth. And insofar as women are getting modern, dignified, and safe solutions, that is absolutely part of our mission. And this is a mission that we shared with our partners, UBX, UBX is, Principal and Financial Inclusion, and of course, CRS, which operates all around the world to provide dignified and safe solutions to their users. So bringing everything that we have in common, if we go to the next slide, we have a lot of shared objectives with this project. Obviously, learning is, knowledge is power. We want to increase the financial literacy among women. So remember, don't forget the first question, are women less or more financially literate than a middle income man? Well, let's just wait and see. But we want women to be hugely financially literate. And so this is all done through the platform, again, in a gamified way. And it's been really, successful insofar as the average user is spending 3 hours they're logging in every other day and spending 3 hours on the app in the course of that month. So there is a appetite for learning, and we're seeing what they're consuming, what type of information that they're really interested in. And so that's been great. We have actually incentivized learning. So that's been really encouraging. Of course, we want to encourage digitization. Why? Because you can rule the world from a smartphone now. And there's no reason why women in the Philippines can't, and women as part of Rise Project can't also rule the world from their phone. Your phone is the portal to your customers globally. And this is what we've been trying to inculcate with the Rise users, that all of the power is in your palm. We're just going to show you how to use it. We want women to learn how to navigate fintech. We want women to be native in digital finance. And that includes all kinds of digital finance. So that's really important. We, of course, want to provide this pathway to financial inclusion. All of our project contributors, so UBX and CRS, we all absolutely are, top of mind is providing this pathway. Why? Because if you live in a global capitalist system and you are excluded from the most basic rungs on that ladder, it's not just bad today. It's bad for you tomorrow. It's bad when a disaster hits and now you've taken 10 steps back. And this is intergenerational. You know how there's intergenerational wealth? There's also intergenerational poverty. And in order to get out of that poverty trap, you have to begin on the financial ladder. And we want to provide that pathway to financial inclusion. We want women to have access to credit, bank accounts, financial products, all regulated, of course, at prices, though, that we can afford and ways it presented in ways that we recognize. So one of the things I thought was really interesting when the motley crew of a bank, a fintech, and an NGO walk into a room and collaborate on a project. I think there was a lot of surprise on both sides. And I remember when we first discussed, bringing microinsurance onto the platform, there was these assumptions that it was going to be excessively expensive. But the reality is we're talking anywhere from $3 to $5 per year in order to cover cash grant, 3 times its value. So I think, and that also has that added effect of, in the event that another disaster strikes, these women can pick themselves back up again fairly easily. So these are the type of inclusions that are not only necessary to alleviate poverty, but really help. And of course, we wanted to provide support. We at Bixie know that all of the evidence indicates that women have a lot of financial literacy. We just lack confidence, and we really rely on our peers and not necessarily experts to build that confidence. So a big part of our work is creating a supportive environment where women can really start taking charge of their finances, start talking publicly about it, and start strategizing ways to improve their financial situation and gain more control. And of course, as we know, all of the evidence shows that through providing knowledge network and tools, women not only invest in ourselves, we invest in our businesses, and by extension, our communities. That is not me. That is Nobel Prize winner Amartya Sen. When you invest in a woman, you truly do invest in a country. And that is something that we have seen in RISE in our preliminary findings, and that we are feeling confident that we will see in our follow-up monitoring and evaluation that will be out at the beginning of next year. So next slide, let's get into the meat. So what do we do in RISE? We broke this down in flow that's like digestible, right? For the different sides of the audience that are in this room. So in the first iteration, we have an organization like CRS, but it can be, any organization. It can be CRS. It can be, we've, partners with SAP. It can be another, it can be UN Women. You provide a list of female participants, whether they're SME owners who are, in this case, graduates of the SILK program. So women SMEs, download the app, simple. Once they're in the app, they're then requested to complete financial literacy games. You're encouraged and you're said, okay, you have to get at 5,000 points. And once they successfully complete these games, then they qualify. They receive congratulations, you've done a bunch of games, you've done really well on your quizzes, you now qualify for a grant that was paid for by CRS and Bixie's private donors as well. And then from there, through our licensed financial partners, UBX provides a payment gateway to then make these payments all through an app. The Unionbank is then subsequently in the future iterations, as we'll get into, will then be monitoring and looking at the data of how the women are behaving and learning on the app in order to shortlist women who are eligible for SME loans. And of course, AXA made available microinsurance products, which are fantastic and have really provided a lot of security and in many cases, first-time insurance for a lot of these women, which has been helpful for the emerging markets department of our insurance partner. And as a result, women are getting all of this swipe of their phone in our busy lives, and they're getting these modern, dignified, and safe solutions. So our preliminary findings, next slide. First step is, who is the RISE woman? Well, the RISE woman, her job is, she is an SME owner or an entrepreneur. So these really vary. Some of the users have had more established businesses for up to 5 years. Some were new entrepreneurs. But what was very clear is that they were going to be either scaling or kickstarting their entrepreneurial journey, and they would need not only financial support, but knowledge and network and subsequently tools to help these businesses actually become successful. And this is absolutely something that we are monitoring, because we always said from the beginning, the RISE Women's success is all of our collective success. The average income, and this is interesting. So as I mentioned, we collected over 500 data points from all of the users, which we are, obviously collating, aggregating, and analyzing. And so what we're presenting today are some of the preliminaries. What was really interesting is when it comes to income, this is an average over the course of users, but this is still approximately 2 times in some cases the national average for 2022 general salaries in the Philippines. So we're not necessarily always, when we refer to low income, we're not always referring to bottom of pyramid. In this case, you're referring to entrepreneurial women who find ways to acquire salaries and income, and are basically, they're micro enterprises, they're hustlers, they're grinders, and they know how to make money. Our average age, so 75%, 2 out of 3 of our users are between the ages of 26 and 57. Half are millennials. Shout out to millennials, 25 to 41 years old. So we're aging. And then, of course, the Gen Xers are up through 57 years old. So that's 2 out of 3 of our users. We do have Gen Z, and of course we have our elderly, as they call the silent generation, and some boomers on our platform as well. And what was amazing is they all, not a single woman was left behind. They all figured out how to navigate the app, how to play the games, and how to, get points and unlock everything. So one of the first, a lot of what we're presenting today is dispelling myths and trying to find other and asserting truths. And that was a big myth that we discounted. So when when Bixie had first come around and we were looking for, particularly in the aid space, partners, a lot of partners that we had initially approached said, well, a lot of people that aren't interested in investment, or this is going to be too confusing for them. And, apps are too confusing. And the reality is, like, that's just not the case. And we're so happy that we found in CRS a partner who's like, oh yeah, no, people will figure this out. And they absolutely did. And we monitored this day by day. We had 3 different release dates for games. So we were able to monitor this over time and really have a good understanding that people knew what they were doing. Most of our users are, of course, located in urban areas because our requirements are smartphones and internet connections. And everyone's savvy. Like, who is not on Facebook? Philippines has the highest use time of any other country in the world for spending time on social media. So they know what they're doing and how to navigate it out. So myths to be dispersed. Next slide, please. For those of you trying to win the prize, this is where bulk of the answers are. So one myth, women are less financially literate than men. So 2 things I want to point out, which is really interesting. One of the games that we required from all of the RISE participants is actually a quiz created and used by the World Bank and the Global Financial Literacy Education Center. So it is the global standard on financial literacy. And you have to score 3 or higher points in order to consider yourself financially literate. What is interesting is that even though technically, RISE women as participants would have initially been considered on the lower income or lower educated spectrum, in fact, their financial literacy was pretty much tantamount to global standards. So RISE women were 27% financially literate according to global standards. The same test was applied globally, 31% of women worldwide. So that's not great. And this is a study that's been conducted even in OECD countries, and 33% of men worldwide. So frankly, RISE women are not too far behind. So they're a little less financially literate, but overall, we're not talking about a huge deviations. So we're still very much in the game. And this is really interesting because all of the research indicates it's not what you have in here that creates income, nudges us towards investments, grows our net worth. It's actually what you have in here, your gut, your confidence. So much more work needs to be built in building confidence, which we build through community, which we build through exposure, which we build through regular interactions, regularity of financial terms and making people feel comfortable. That's how you generate empowering or creating financially empowered women. It's not just in the books, it's in the gut. So another myth to be dispelled is women are risk averse. I have heard this up and down, left and right, even though all of the general data indicates that this is absolutely not the case. There's many nuances and variation. With the rise with data findings, of course, we saw a very similar, we found that women actually show a very high preference for games and financial literacy that's about decentralized finance, even though DeFi is arguably the highest risk category. We know that 95% of our users were able within the first 2 hours to navigate a learn to earn module, or sorry, within 1 hour, learn to earn module. Like if we had approached people, before the Rise pilot and said, I think that female members of savings groups in peri-urban will be able to navigate a DeFi learn to earn module, people quite literally laughed in our face. And that would have been considered an absurdist notion. We know that that's absolutely not the case, including the 12% of elderly we serve. They managed, they did it, and they were able to access their grants. So we know that women are not risk averse. They actually not gravitate towards topics that are more high risk, and that they're well versed at it. And then, of course, the last part, which is women are tech novices. Sure, they understand social media, but will they really understand like finance in a technological sense? Of course, as I mentioned, the average user was spending hours on the app in a month. They were logging in every other day. They were learning every day. And in fact, and this was really scary, and scary in a good way, because then we subsequently brought these ladies on as ambassadors. 3% of the users actually were able to start hacking solutions. They're basically like app hackers now. They're like internet hackers. Again, they're not tech experts, they're not app developers, and they managed to hack really successful solutions, a lot of the learn to earn. So rather than punishing them, we said, well, let's make them Bixie ambassadors because these ladies know what they're doing. So again, the key to anything new is how it's presented and how people are included in the process. And I think that the triumvirate of finance, fintech, CRS with very much a close relationship to everybody on the ground, we were really able to adequately communicate what we were trying to achieve. And as a result, all of the women were able to successfully complete every single step on time, and with very little complication. So that's really, that's a win in of itself. And the next slide, I just want to flag things that we need some help with. What women need help with. So control, this is a big one. 20%, 1 in 5 of Arise women did not have their own financial accounts. And again, I go back to, these are income earners, right? That's the national average. These are mostly urban women. They don't have their own accounts. Why is that? Despite the fact that in the Philippines, actually on average, women have more access to bank accounts than men. This needs to change. This can change tomorrow. And absolutely our plan is to make this change tomorrow. This does not have to be the case. Also, 28%, this is a typo, 28% of women rely on their spouse's income for their livelihood. This is in 2022, this absolutely cannot be the case. And part of what we will be monitoring very closely is how the Rise platform, through investments, through cash injections, investments, and insurance, how are we moving the needle? We're going to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that we are moving the needle, that women are earning more and relying less on others for their basic needs. And financial freedom, what we really need help with. This is a really interesting finding. And there's a lot of categories that we had to control for. But what's interesting is, so we had, millennials and Gen Xers make up the bulk of our users. But of course, we have Gen Zers, we have boomers, we have the silent generation. And each one showed approximately like a 10-year difference in their planned age for retirement. This term retirement, by the way, meaning I don't want to work for labor anymore. Like I'm going to figure something out, right? And that this keeps getting younger with each generation. Now, of course, there's one factor. The younger you are, the time consistency dilemma, right? We tend to overestimate the present and underestimate the future. So that plays some parts, but the deviations that we are seeing initially in our findings is that doesn't answer everything. There are new expectations in place, particularly for millennials and for Gen Zers. So if anybody wants to take a guess in the comments, how old do you think the average millennial thinks they'll be when they like have enough money to never have to work again. Just guess. And what was funny is I'm a millennial. I'm on the older side of millennial. And when I saw this data, I nodded because it's exactly my number. It's my number. In my head, this is the magic number I had. So I just want to see if anybody's able to answer that, please put it in the comment thread or go ahead and put it in the Bixie app. Has anybody started? Because I'm gonna do a spoiler. Basically, it's 47 years old. Okay, that's when they think they're like, oh, I never have to work again. So Gen Xers, so Boomers are super like they're right on time, right? The traditional is like 65. They know. Gen Xers are like more like 57, right? Like 55, 57. Millennials were like, 47 would be nice, 49. Gen Zers, you guys, they think they're retiring. They think they're legit retiring before their 40th birthday. It keeps coming up as like my 40th birthday. This is fascinating. It's not just a matter of the time consistency dilemma because we have analyzed it as such. This is a generational difference. And so we really have to start, not managing these expectations, but we have to start accommodating for these expectations because what people are really saying is, I need to start investing. I need my money, whatever I earn, to start making money because it is impossible unless, I don't know, you go viral, you have 10 million subscribers on YouTube. It is impossible for generally your day-to-day labor, even if you're a corporate lawyer, even if you're an investment banker, to make that by your 40th birthday, to never have to work again, given that your life expectancy is 88 years. So we have to start thinking about what does financial freedom look like to different generations and how can we start accommodating and intervening at early ages. Another thing we really need help with as women, there's concepts that we really understand, like inflation. And I saw in the comment thread, like a lot of people are like, yep, I really get this. However, we don't really understand compound interest. And as a result, even though savings is one of the top goals, it's the top goal for women, we don't really know good saving strategies because a good saving strategy actually requires an understanding of compound interest and not a theoretical one, like a day-to-day one. So one of the things we've immediately done to address this, because this was a huge finding, we have already, we will be doing a new release in the Bixie app, and we've already included new compound interest games. Super simple, super easy, and we've already, we focus grouped it, the kind that will make your average person really understand how it impacts me and how I can start doing something about it. Because this is a concept that needs to be not only understood here again, it needs to be understood here. And so we've gamified it to make that a gut understanding. The next slide, it's just brief, what's next? We have been asked this a lot because we have 3 types of people on today's audience. We have our RISE graduates, and a big, big round of congratulations to all of you. I am really I've been amazed by all you've been able to accomplish. Thank you to the hackers for just, blowing all of our expectations completely out of the water. So of course we've been asked by them, what can we expect? Of course we have our partners here. We think getting control of your finances.
1 minute.
Oh, sorry.
I think we were disconnected in the IG, Eunice. Can you please check it? Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Anyway, while we're waiting for the connection of our IG, again, I think I will just have to ask again the 3 pop questions. Tama ba, Eunice? Ayan. For the benefit of those who weren't able to join.
Okay.
Well, I think we're here.
Do you want me to do the next steps now?
Sorry?
Should I continue?
I think we're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So next steps for our graduates, we have our partners we can explore looking at digital bank accounts and SME loans. And we can, part of the subsequent, after this live event, is collating all of that, putting it in the RISE report and letting you guys know what will be available to you. Of course, we have MSME online learning courses tonight with our remote skills learning partner. They are a global partner. We recently focused groups there, how to be a virtual assistant course. It's different modules. It's really easy, accessible, super practical. And so these are the type of things we are making available. We'll do also things like how to get your digital content strategy in place, right? Like We know that a handful of you are using money to either build or scale your small shops. It's really important that you find an online channel to also start selling. And we really want you to learn how to maximize that. Like I said, one of you is going to be the next Jeff Bezos. It's really, and probably going to be one of the hackers. It's really just a question of who. And so, of course, we have our own Bixie Christmas Bazaar that we do every year, where we invite female-owned SMEs to share their wares. And we, of course, invite all of the RISE participants to this online bazaar as well. Of course, we have our second audience members, who are the other UN agencies, INGOs. We'll be releasing a preliminary report of these findings towards the end of November. So as I mentioned, 500 data points, we're crunching a lot of it, but we'll be releasing some of these preliminary data findings. And then, of course, for our audience, which is also includes the financial service partners, will be CRS, and through their MEAL, this is their monitoring and evaluation mega platform that's analyzing, I don't even know, more than 500 data points, I'm guessing thousands of data points. They're releasing their income impact report in January. And this is where you'll really see how what we have done has really impacted how much women are making. And then, of course, this is also going to be weighed against all of the costs that were incurred by all of the partners to really demonstrate not only, a business case all around, doing good business and making good business sense. And then, of course, the third members of the audience that we constantly are getting requests from are potentially new risers. Everyone's like, I want to join RISE. Okay, how do I join RISE? Well, CRS does have its savings and loan scheme program, and so we will be extending RISE to their Silk members in the Philippines. And we're also looking at scaling RISE through with our partners, CRS, through the region. So we're in discussion with that. But we hope to keep growing the female user base. I mean, nothing is literally more beneficial for all of the partners on this call than supporting female-owned SMEs. You make money, you make impact, everybody makes money, everybody makes impact. It's a win, win, win. And that is ultimately what RISE has been. It's been a win for Bixie. It's been a win for UBX, and I think it's been a win for CRS as well. So I will end it there because I have taken up way too much time with my PowerPoint. But I want to get into the fireside chat with the other members. And I also want to open the floor. Anybody have any questions from all of those different audiences? I'd love to see if there's a way to incorporate some of your questions as well, because I think this is very much intended to be an interactive event where all of you on the different sides of the fence can ask the questions that you don't really want to ask. So feel free to ask them, send them to our Bixie team and ask them anonymously. But I'm going to end there and we can just get into the fireside because I really want to hear from Chin and Trisha. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Rosalia. Okay, so now I'm calling back, and you're still on mute, Miss Chin, but I'm calling back Miss Chin and Miss Trisha. Miss Chin, again, is the head of programming of Catholic Relied Services, and Trisha is the product owner of UBX, our payment partner, UBX's lending marketplace, CCAP. So the first question is, this is a Miss Universe question. What was your greatest learning from RISE? Learning meaning, what is the greatest challenge, and what was the greatest opportunity? So I think I will have to start with Miss Chin.
Sure. Is my audio okay? Great. Thanks for that excellent presentation, Rosalia. You said it all. Thank you. So, greatest learning would be providing that the various options for the different Silk women members, savings group members. You see, in CRS, we're very much committed to supporting a broad number of vulnerable communities. So, having Bixie and UBX in this RISE endeavor showed very varied options for urban women vis-a-vis rural women. So this was one of the great learning, and definitely a second learning will be the dispelling the myths. Same as other women, we also had a huge, apprehension when we started this pilot, the RISE project. But then again, knowing from the results, it's a 360 turnaround. So we are very happy in how it turned out. Some opportunities that we're seeing is that uh, to pursue the various learning and gamified platform, this is one really big development and appreciation from the different Silk women. They like the gamified learning and it connects well with the capacity building initiatives that CRS has. And combining that with the micro insurance and other potential embedded services later on. So these are the opportunities that we see moving forward sa ating RISE, RISE project.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Chen. Anyway, for our three panelists, you can butt in anytime if you want to add, if you want to expound. So, at Ms. Trisha, coming from UBX, yan,
Yeah.
what is your greatest learning, meaning your greatest challenge, and of course the greatest opportunity that you saw with Rise?
Mm-mm. So thank you for that wonderful question. So I wanna say I wanna greet everyone a very good evening. So to answer, very beauty queen, diba? So the greatest challenge opportunity of Rise is, it's keeping the mission in focus and driving the journey for these female entrepreneurs that we have engaged in to ensure that we are working towards their betterment. So kung ano yung need nila, yun yung address natin, right? And then I think the opportunity that of this program is the technology and the tools and of course the services that we can offer to further support the rice community. So that's one very exciting, and I think the community should be watching out for, and I know it will be very big for us.
Okay, Rosalia, how about you? What do you think is your greatest challenge and greatest opportunity that came out from this Rise project? You're mute.
Sorry about that. I think the greatest, I wouldn't necessarily call it a challenge. I think, I was primed as a cluster coordinator, so coordination saves lives, and it really does. And that actually served me really well. I think we did a good job from day one of having, a core team constantly in communication to make sure that all of the different elements and variables were well executed. We really had a dream team that we worked with. So I would say that a lot of the challenges that arise from anything were usually mitigated, really not usually, always mitigated really quickly because we had such good communication. So I would say that it wasn't so much a challenge. This was a lesson learned. It's really important to have a tight circle, like a command center that's managing everything. I mean, I think in terms of opportunities, the opportunities are boundless. As I mentioned at the top of the presentation, we're talking about $1 billion cash transfer, industry on one side, and then on the other side, $1 trillion gap in financial services, looking for women to support. So to me, it's like that's the opportunity, and we're doing. The Rise is a really important first step. And that's why I say it's such a groundbreaking project, because nobody is bridging this divide in this very active way. And we're doing that. And so that is a paradigm industry shifting change that is an opportunity that presents itself. So I'm really excited to see what comes of that. We can make some really significant changes that positively benefit women all over the world by doing what we've done here and scaling it.
Okay, that's really nice. Which brings me to my next question, because we are having tonight I think a lot of the women from the Rise project are here, so they are like asking questions, answering the quiz. But what do we expect from them, from Rise women? Like, what do we expect from within, let's say, 6 months from now? What do we expect to see from this Rise women? Aside from, of course, attending our live events and learning more inside the Bixie app. Miss Chin.
Yeah, Well, 6 months from now, we expect them to be interacting with different, network within the Bixie app and potentially accessing bigger loans from various banks since they already have the experience and the knowledge within the Bixie platform. So I think those are the next, big things that they can hurdle in the next 6 months.
Mhm. How about you, Trisha? Like I mentioned, like Rosalia mentioned earlier, like the
Mhm.
payment gateway that we use for this is UBX's eye to eye.
Yeah.
So, as Chin mentioned, the women have already experienced. So, what do you want to see, or what do you expect to see the rice women coming from the payment or the marketplace point of view?
Yeah. So I think actually it's expect to see the rice women making like better financial choices and truly leveraging on the services to be able to grow their businesses. And of course it's not all about the businesses and growing it. It's also securing their family's future, diba? So that would be the ideal end state. So it's not just all business, but also the family, the future of the family.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
these services will be are actually no readily available from
Yes, of course.
UBX. Yeah.
Yeah. So in UBX we have what we call, I think that's the next step, no? The the lending marketplace we call it's ccap.ph. Everyone can
Mhm.
check it out. So they can apply for a loan in there. So with that platform, we hope and I hope I can see rice women applying for a loan in there and able to grow what they have. They have planted it already. Eh. So
Mhm.
to grow that one.
Mhm. So it's a requirement, no, on your marketplace platform, the loans. These are available
Yeah.
for women who have SMEs.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Bale,
So the
you will be
focus
the one who
really is,
will.
yeah.
Sorry.
So in the CCAP lending marketplace, so the focus really is the SMEs. So we you give them, it's like the bridge of the borrower to the lender. So with the help of course Unionbank, we can provide them with the loan.
Okay. Okay, that's nice because when usually the problem for I mean the challenges one of the biggest challenges rather for entrepreneurs, especially
Yeah.
like for this I mean for this purpose, women entrepreneurs usually they are discouraged because I don't have cash,
Yeah.
I don't have enough money to move on with my next project. So it's really nice to know that like UBX, of course, via Union Bank, has this readily available
Lending
loan.
platform.
Yeah, in your lending platform, which they could really use maybe in the next 2 months, 3 months. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's really
And
nice.
they
That's
don't
really
even have to go out of their homes to apply. You can just, like Rosalia said, it's all in the power of your palms. Diba? So you can apply
that's
right
true.
there and then whenever, wherever you are.
Okay, that's really nice. That's really nice to know, no? Especially now, it's really we're still in a pandemic, even if we think we're no longer in a pandemic. So yeah, that's really nice to know that it's really readily available and it's really accessible. Sometimes we
Correct.
get discouraged because things are not accessible. So
Yeah.
that's really nice. So ladies, if you heard what Miss Trisha said, there are readily available, like SME loans in their marketplace, which you could check, which you could use it to grow your businesses, and of course, like she said, to grow not just your business but also to improve the quality of life of your future and your family's future. So
Yeah.
last but not the least, coming from Rosalia, no, what do you think, what do you want to see, or yeah, just want to see, maybe like the idea, what do you want to expect or want to see with rice women in the next 6 months, 1 year?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, I expect one of them is going to be build an enormous like e-commerce platform. As a woman who started a business, I know it's really hard. So there's the key things you need. You need money, so they have that, and they have also money protections with the insurance. So if anything happens, they can still have their business. But that's absolutely not all you need. Just because somebody gives me money, I need the knowledge to be like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, I need knowledge about my business. I need knowledge about the industry, about pricing, about sales channels, like knowledge. And knowledge is not something you have one day and you're done. No, you have to, as a business owner, you're constantly learning. So I want to see women on the in the 1 month that they were in Rise or in the Bixie app through Rise, you guys were on the app every other day on average, right? You need to keep doing that. Like, join the courses, watch the videos on how to build a digital content channel. These are really important to keep developing your skills, because it's capital plus knowledge, right? But let's not forget, network is super important. As a woman who owns a business, every day is a challenge, okay? And you need like a crew of lady friends who are like, okay, what was your challenge and how can we support each other out of it? This is so important. So what I hope is that you use these are not sales pitches. We created the Bixie app because that's what we need to grow our worth and to know our worth, right? It was created by women, created for women. So that's what I would anticipate seeing in the next 6 months. I want to see women continuing to learn on the platform, continuing to build community, interact with one another, help each other, problem solve, etc., and to continue to access more and more capital on the platform as well. I think that's really important, right? So that's my hope for the next 6 months.
Okay. I would like to connect my previous question. What do you expect to see, or what's your hope? What's your dream in the next 6 months? Because now we have a question here. She says, which I will connect it to my next question. Where is it? Pwede po kaya makasali mga katulad namin na di kasama sa RISE project? So she said she wasn't a part of the RISE project, but now she's asking if she can join. So, Miss Chin, because the pilot program for the RISE project are actually graduates of your Silk program. I think you will be in the best position to answer this. But coupled with this question, can she join? I mean, can somebody outside the Silk program join? And at the same time, what do you think for you? What will be the next step for the RISE project? Are we like scaling it up, nationalizing it, Miss Chen?
Yeah, sure. Definitely. I think the app is free. They can download and use the Bixie app anytime. Depending on your area, kung saan po kayo based, kasi ngayon ang RISE project is implemented sa Metro Manila, ng mga specific barangays lang. Pero kung hindi, they can use the app, pwede naman gumamit ng app. The way forward in the next few possibly years, we're looking at scale, definitely the same as what Rosales envisioning the Bixie to be, to a lot of women. So promoting this to more of our savings group members, and then possibly to other areas. Yeah. So walang limitation, Gil. Pwede sila sumali.
Yes, of course. Pwede pong sumali sa ating Bixie app. Like, you can download the app. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything. But everything inside the app, of course, you will learn something. So from community, from our videos, from all the discussions in there, from our live events. So yeah, so pwede sabi nga ni Miss Chin. So Rosalia, what are your goals or next steps for RISE? Do you want to take it global, national, universal? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I've very much envisioned Bixie from day one as there are no borders. There are no borders for women. We are 51% of the world. We're everywhere. And what's the most interesting thing is fewer than 1% of us have any semblance of control over our finances. And it's for very similar reasons. So, one of the things we talk about is like women don't have confidence. This is the same all over the world. Women mitigate their risk by talking to friends. This is the same all over the world. There's all of these evidence-based things that we know that are very common around women. Saving circles. So this behavior of women who put, money in a saving circle, this is globally ubiquitous. you have to ask yourself, when we have these very similar behaviors all over the world, who's addressing this for us? And that's the $5 trillion finance gap. And that's the gap that Bixie wants to fill, right? So we absolutely see ourselves, this is, for us, this is the beginning of a very, very long journey. So buckle up, everyone. We want to see women rise all over the world.
I think that will be my last question. But if you would like to ask, you would like to add anything to our discussions, I am seeing a few questions about, but in the interest of time, it's 7:41 on my end. There is a question here about requirements for availment of a loan from Unionbank. I think we can you answer that, Trish? Or maybe we can answer that as our last question for the night. And of course, for everyone who has posted a question, rest assured that our team is collating all the questions. Then please go inside the Bixie app, and if you need help from an expert, then an expert will answer it for you. But for last question, what are the requirements if we want to avail of the SME loan from UBX or Unionbank? Trisha.
So it's very easy actually to apply for a loan in UBX. Sabi ko nga, it's all in the power of your phones. So you can go to ckap.ph. So basic requirements in applying for Union Bank loan is your ID, of course, and then the basic documentary lang ng mga businesses nyo. So 2303, your business permit, your mayor's permit. Basically, that's it. You can upload it in the website. You just have to create your account and then upload it there, and then you can get approval in as fast as 24 hours. As long as, so it's very easy.
Yeah, so thank you Trisha. Narinig niyo po 'yon, Miss Ria asked the question. So but again, the pop quiz is still on. If you haven't put in your answer, you can still put in your answers. Download lang po tayo ng Bixie app for those who haven't downloaded the Bixie app. This is I'm showing now the QR. Ayan, kita din natin siya sa Facebook now. So you will download the Bixie app and go and proceed with your answers. And I'm sure you were able to get the answers kanina from the presentation of Rosalia, and of course from the answers of the panelists. So again, for those whose questions we cannot accommodate at this time because we're 13 minutes out, and 13 minutes, we've exceeded 13 minutes. Rest assured that we are collating them right now. Actually, I'm receiving notifications right now because some is already collating them. But you can still send your answers to the pop questions, and if you have more questions, then just message in the Bixie app. So again, thank you so much everyone for joining us in this Rise Report, and see you again next Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Manila time, for another exciting event in relation to 11/11. So Secret Muna will post teasers on our Facebook, IG, and LinkedIn channels. And if you're on Twitter, you also post there. So Secret Muna, but this will be very exciting because who is not excited for 11/11? So again,
sa mga kabudol, see you next Thursday, 11/11.
Yes, see you. And thank you, Miss Trish. Thank you, Rosalia, and thank you, Miss Chin, for tonight. This was a very fruitful Rise Report. So again, thank you also, Eunice, and thank you everyone. Thank you to all the ladies, and of course, gentlemen who were with us tonight. Thank you.
Don't
And
forget your answers in the pop quiz, please. I will be checking in closely inside the app. Okay, so bye. See you next Thursday.
See you. Bye bye.